before, so it's not going to be like a piece of cake for everybody the first moment you see it. So again, in number 1, if you can switch to sine and cosine, I try to do that because that's already in my problem. Sine and cosine are already in there. So hopefully you realize that cotangent has a ratio that we can do with sine and cosine. It's cosine over sine. Okay? And I'm just going to work on this left side. I'm not really, so when I say it equals that, I'm not doing anything to that. So I might just go straight down to not confuse you. But I'm dividing, so I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So flip this over. And I get those to cancel, and it just equals sine. So you can kind of check or like equal sign, whatever you want to do to show me that that worked. And again, you don't have to, I mean, there's not a lot of other steps to show them that, but again, you can't just like leave me, you can't just go here and say, yep, I know it's good. Like, that's not enough for me. I don't know what you, I mean, I know what you did, but I need to see it. So if you can just write that next step, that's really helpful. Because you don't want me to take off points because I don't feel like you showed me enough work. So in number 2, again, use that rule of switching over to sine and cosine. So cosecant is 1 over sine. Secant is 1 over cosine. Tangent is sine over cosine. Again, those just come off the top of my head because I've done this before. If every single time you have to go back and look at your sheet, that's perfectly fine. But the more times you do this, the better you'll get at it. So practice. So if it's, this is all multiplication. So multiplication, we do not need common denominators. With multiplication, we can just cross cancel. Again, think of this as, you know, like this is like 1 over x times 1 over y times x over y. Just think of it as regular variables. Those x's would just cancel. Same thing here, these signs just get to cancel. And I'll be left with 1 over 2 cosines multiplied together is cosine squared. And that maybe is a difference in what you are expecting. Maybe you think that's supposed to be like a y squared, but it's just cosine squared. And 1 over cosine we know is cosecant, so we're done. Or sorry, secant, I said that wrong. So I got it to match. So now we know we're done. So that was what John had said. It just helps me to know when I'm done. Okay? Those of you guys, so maybe I'm going to change this up a little bit. Those of you guys working ahead on the back, are there any in the back you guys encountered that you struggled with? Number 5. I might start there. 5 was bad for you too.
You do 3 right away.
What?
3.
I'm going to end up doing all of them. I want to go maybe for some people that are doing really well with this, that I want to let you guys go in a minute here and work without having to wait for the rest of us. So, all right, I'm going to go to 5 first. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, starting with maybe a tougher one. And actually 5 is the one that required the least amount of work on the back side. No, and so yeah, once you see 5, you're going to be like, really? Because adding, we can add in any order we want. So I can rearrange the order here. And you don't even have to really show this, but hopefully you see that if I add, and let's just talk about regular numbers again. If I do 1 plus 2 plus 3, is that the same as 1 plus 3 plus 2?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so once I say that way, I think that triggered that for her, that I can rearrange that order. So I'm going to put 2 of these together that make more sense. And you wouldn't even probably have had to show this step. So I'm moving this just over. The reason I'm moving that over is because I know something about those 2 together. So once you see that, you're like, really? That's all that was? And that really, that's, so this is a case where I would not say change everything to sine and cosine. Like that's been my rule almost all the time. However, I looked ahead a little bit and saw that it had secant, so it made me think a little bit, maybe not sine and cosine. So don't, like that's not an always rule. Like don't always change things over. Yeah?
Even if you do that, you're able to still find...
Yeah, you should be able to still. You should still look back. I mean, yeah, if yours takes more steps, like if you get there, you're fine. I mean, I don't care if it takes you, I don't want it to take all day, but like, you know, if you get there, you'll be okay. Because I'm assuming that you didn't change the sine and cosine to anything else. This is probably still 1. If this was a fraction or something, you probably would switch it back then, realizing maybe. And this is just a fact, this one. So that's done. All right, so I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna give those of you guys who are working still a minute to try number 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. If you think you're completely done, I might just pop over by you and exchange the homework with you. If you are completely finished, I know maybe just a few of you guys are. So don't think that you're not the only one who's not done, because I think there's maybe 4 of you that might be finished. Like, do you think you're good, Owen? Yeah. And yeah, just make sure, just make sure you show steps. Yeah, you're good. How are you, Tara? Are you still working on? Yeah. All right, let me know if you stop. Emma, same thing. Let me know when you're feeling good. I can always exchange for homework. I don't want to make you guys wait, but at the same time, I don't want to. You good? Let me grab my sheet just so that I'm not. Right?
Sec.
That should become
Sec
1.
is 1 over cosine.
Like it turns into 1 right when this cancel.
Yeah.
For this one? It'd be sine over sine, so it'd become 1. So it's gonna end up being like cancel. I would leave it this way because this is a good, that's an strength. Yeah, and because that's there, that's also a good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, become 1, yeah, and you have to FOIL, so you have to do the other 2. Yeah, so some of them are going to become 1 and some are going to become kind of ugly, but you're going to look ahead a little bit and that's not really all that bad, you know, like so, yeah. I'll give you guys a little bit more time and then we'll talk as a group again. I should have filled my water bottle. Didn't do that much time. Does anyone else